Folks, I want to tell you something. I was looking for something when I was about 27, 26, 27, before I met my wife and my children. I got baptized. I got baptized because I wasn't. I was so alone, and I thought it would help me. I got baptized in front of a big church out in Arizona. The only person that showed up on the day of my baptism was my mother. It's a fact. Other than a bunch of strangers that went to the church that I didn't even know. I then wanted to find a church that I could get involved with and be a part of. They found out that I was a house painter. I was painting houses and stuff. They wanted me to, this is a church that I got involved with and everything. And then they found out that I was a painter and they was having a bunch of upgrades done to the church. So they asked me, as being someone who followed that church, not Jesus, I was following that church. They asked me if I could paint some bathrooms for them and a hallway that they were having added. I said, yeah, of course I will. And then they asked me, well, you're going to have to supply all the paint as well. And I said, all right, of course I will. Of course I will. I had some paint. And they agreed that is just as long as it was an off-white paint, I had paint that I could paint it, and I wouldn't charge them nothing. I had it all. It wouldn't cost me nothing. I'd do it. At the same time, they was having this big old cathedral part added on. Oh yeah, this church that I just became a part of. And I'm already doing a bunch of free painting work for them. Now they look at me and say, oh, we're going to need you to do that big area we got going on out there. And I was like, what? You want me to paint that? I said, well, I ain't got the manpower at this point. And who's going to pay for the paint? And the church told me I was going to. I was going to pay for the paint, supply the people, the permits, and everything else to cover their job. That's what they told me. I said, oh, well, you know what? You just lost me. And I left. And now, my daughter started going to a church when I was a little bit older than that, 40-something. And she asked me, hey, she's my stepdaughter. She said, hey, Brian, you want to go to church with us? I said, yeah, you know what? Let's go. Me and my wife went with her. Her and her friends were going to this church. Me and my wife started going with them. We were enjoying it. Had a preacher that was a good preacher and everything. But it wasn't what it was supposed to be. This man that I liked having as a preacher, he comes in one day He's telling us on Sunday, I ain't ate nothing for a week. I'm not going to eat any more food until you people start paying more money. You need to give up more of your money, or I'm just not going to eat no more food. And I'm looking around. I'm in this is a Sunday church meeting. I'm looking. I'm going, these people, what are these people going? I'm getting out of here. I got up and walked out of it. I told that church, I said, you people, if that preacher ain't going to eat, that's on his own. But for him to say, I'm not going to eat no more till you people start paying more money. Oh no, I wasn't dealing with that either. So even in Indiana, once I left Arizona and came up here to Indiana, I got involved with the Central Christian Church of Greenwood. At this point, folks, I was known for my hat that you guys will see soon. Because when it gets cold up here, I got to cover up this head with my hat. So I wear my hat a lot. But I was known, Greenwood, Indiana. My hat and my gun on my hip. I carried guns for many years on my hip, folks. Practicing my Second Amendment rights. I was involved with the security of a church. They needed help. I volunteered. Not only sitting in a room that had all these 50 cameras that watched everybody as they was walking in and out of the building. We had undercover police officers that worked in there. And we had people like me, licensed, state license, to carry concealed or carry a weapon out in view. At one old woman, I've been going to that church for a while, working security, folks. Working security with other cops, legal. I mean, they were actually Greenwood cops that went to that church, and some of them were even in uniform when they went to that church on Sunday. Some of them were undercover. Some of us were packing guns, even though we weren't cops. And one old woman said because I wore my cowboy hat, they call it a cowboy hat. And I had my gun on my hip. It scared her to death. And this church that I worked for security for asked me not to carry my gun into church anymore. Well, I carried my gun everywhere I went. Church, family reunions, or anywhere else I went. And there wasn't going to be no woman, old woman, that was going to tell me I couldn't carry it. So they asked me to stop coming. That was the last church I went to. And I don't believe I'll go to another church unless some church comes up that is still calling themselves the Way. The Way. Jesus said he was the way, the truth, and the life. I don't see anybody going to heaven that ain't following the way. You guys prove me wrong. All right? You guys do that, because I've already proved myself right. God loves you. I love you guys, man. All of you. I have no want for any of you to go to hell or be harmed in any way. But if you ain't seeking Jesus and you ain't building a relationship with Jesus, hell is your future. Make no mistakes. If you don't believe me, watch and see.